Then what brings you to Deep Space Nine?
You.
I got a bad feeling about this.
Hey, it's Janelle Waz, and welcome back to another episode of Treknalysis. ODO. Now, you might be looking at this video as well as the last Treknalysis video and thinking, wow, Waz really has it in for Odo. And that's not true. I like Odo a lot. The cold, shape-shifting outsider whose only master is justice, frenemies with local bartender Quark, has these little heartwarming moments where he cracks a smile, all while masterfully portrayed by the late actor Rene Auberjonois. I mean, how could anyone not like Odo? But then, DS9 Season 6 happened. The Dominion occupation arc starts at the Season 5 finale and continues through the first 6 episodes of Season 6. It features the start of the Dominion War, Starfleet vacating the station, and the Dominion gaining control of it. Kira and Odo remain on the station where they work to sabotage the Dominion forces stationed there. But Odo's loyalties are put into severe question with the arrival of the female founder, a fellow changeling. And it's a very frustrating experience for me. So, let's find out how frustrated I can get as I look into Odo's actions during DS9's Dominion occupation arc.
The last 5 years. Your life here, our friendship, none of that matters.
It did once.
But before I go any further, make sure you subscribe to my channel. I talk a lot about Star Trek, video games, and whatever else I feel like talking about. Be great to have you aboard. Our story arc begins with the threat of war looming over the station, with concern over Bajor's safety in the war. After all, Starfleet was stationed at DS9 to help Bajor get back on its feet after the 60-year Cardassian occupation. So, naturally, our lead characters are a bit nervous.
But one thing is certain, we're losing the peace, which means a war could be our only hope.
However, Quark's thinking ahead. He sees a real possibility that the Dominion is going to take over the station, and there will be plenty of Cardassian officers hanging around. So naturally, he smuggles in 10,000 rapages of Yamek sauce, which is popular among Cardassians.
That little worm, he thinks the Cardassians are going to retake the station.
What is a Yamek anyway?
Poor Odo's just waiting to find out what he's supposed to do with all this Yamek sauce, something that Kira, as the station's first officer, should be able to answer.
What would you like me to do with it?
Major, I don't care, you decide.
Well, what exactly are you getting paid for, Kira? Is Kira even getting paid?
The economics of the future is somewhat different.
Dump it.
Very good.
Well, that was one heck of an awkward conversation. Naturally, Jedzia's like, girl dish, and while Kira doesn't want to talk about it...
It's a long story. Those are the best kind.
She fesses up to what we as the audience already know.
Odo has feelings for me.
What kind of feelings?
The kind that aren't easy to talk about.
Except for Aldo, who was a regular chatty Cathy about it.
I love you, Nerys. I've always loved you.
So apparently, Odo and Kira have been avoiding each other and have been super uncomfortable since the episode Children of Time, which, if you haven't seen my analysis on that episode, go check it out. But for those who are new here or haven't seen the episode, the Define crew happened upon a planet of their descendants because time shenanigans, and Kira met an older version of Odo who spilt the beans about his and regular Odo's feelings. At the time, regular Odo was in his gelatinous state and couldn't do anything about it. Up to that point in the show, Odo had been hiding his feelings for Kira, who he'd known for almost a decade. They were very good friends and confidants. And in all that time, Kira was frustratingly oblivious to Odo's feelings and would go to him with her boyfriend troubles. So since Kira found out, she'd been super uncomfortable around Odo. And this is a great time for all of this to hit with a war coming on.
That explains a lot. It does? Not really.
But anyways, the station is preparing for war, and that also involves Odo and Kira coordinating their plans together. Which is, of course, a great time for this to happen.
Major, I've been thinking about asking you out to dinner.
Now, Odo? Now? We could have Jem'Hadar on our—
I'm not going to do it.
Oh. Odo basically tells her that he's not going to throw any romantic overtures her way since there's a full-blown war about to break out, and they both need to be free of any unnecessary distractions. Odo, I have to hand it to you. That's really smart. You both have enough on your minds and literal lives on the line to be uncomfortable in the cargo bay with 10,000 rapages of Yamak sauce. Odo's not thinking about himself here. He's considering Kira as well as everyone else depending on them. Kira is relieved to hear this and is once again at ease with Odo. It's like she has her best friend back.
Well, I don't know about you, but I feel more comfortable already.
And of course, the Dominion comes and takes the station, and Gul Dukat is put in charge, with Sisko's baseball ominously watching everything. Make sure you check out that video as well. Kira and Odo stay behind on the station, since Kira is the Bajoran liaison officer and Odo is chief of security. In other words, they're not Starfleet.
Well, I'm not in Starfleet.
Both of them want the Dominion out and the Federation back in, and gee, isn't it great they're not uncomfortable around each other anymore? With all the crap going on right now, they can support each other and vent their frustrations to a sympathetic ear. Heck, Kira even admits that the only time she smiles anymore is when she's with Odo.
I'm glad you can still smile.
Only when I'm with you. When I talk to you, things don't seem as bad.
Kira even pushes Odo to demand his security detail back since Weyoun, the Dominion representative, sees him as a god. Heck, he even gets a spot on the station's ruling council. He's got a say in station policy, and Dukat doesn't have the free reign that he used to. And though Kira has her concerns about that, Odo reminds her that he's had to walk this line before during the Cardassian occupation of Bajor, but this time he won't be alone. He's got Kira. It's Odo and Kira against the Dominion. Heck, when things really start to get bad, they start up their own little secret resistance cell and recruit Quark's brother Rom and son of Benjamin the emissary Sisko, Jake. Things are starting to look a little better. That is, of course, when Kira decides to cause a disturbance in Quark's that resulted in Quark getting thrown across the bar. Which, to be honest, is a pretty typical day at Quark's.
Don't you have something to say to me?
About what happened at Quark's. Worked better than I expected.
I knew you were behind it.
Odo's a little upset. He thought he shut down the idea of causing a fight at Quark's between the Jem'Hadar and the Cardassians. It's a bad idea. It'll cause a crackdown. Of course, Kira points out that when he said it was a bad idea, he left the meeting right away. She, Jake, and Rom talked it over and decided to go through with it. Which, she does have a point. You walked out of the meeting without even arguing your point, Odo? You left before you offered an alternative? What did you expect was going to happen? So, Odo and Kira are having a little argument. Gee, it's like they're already dating or something.
The last thing I need is to have you running around causing mayhem.
Lucy?
Kira points out that the Federation is losing the war and that they need to do something on the station, and that Odo seems to be more concerned about making sure the station is running smoothly than about helping the Federation.
Are you questioning my loyalties, Major? Answer me. Are you questioning my loyalties?
Oh, of course not.
I want you all to remember this moment.
Hello?
Well, look who just showed up! This bitch! You know, the same bitch that manipulated Odo ever since he met her, who kidnapped Sisko and the Defiant crew at one point, who hid the fact that the Changelings or Founders, whatever the hell you want to call them, lead the Dominion and have been trying to persuade Odo to join up with them, unsuccessfully, by the way. The same bitch that masqueraded as Kira and blew her cover when she told Odo she loved him, and Odo knew Kira could never love him.
I'm in love with you.
I'm in love with you, too.
You can start by telling me who you are and what you've done with Kira.
The same bitch that made Odo a solid and didn't even give him clothes to wear? Yep, that bitch.
It's good to see you again.
The female founder, because she lacks an actual name, so I'm going to start making up names for her, kicks Kira out of Odo's office and proceeds to point out that Ha ha, Odo loves a salad.
You called her Nerys.
What of it?
Well, it turns out that Lucy is stuck on this side of the wormhole and decided to pay Odo a visit. She's been around salads for too long. Odo, of course, is still pissed at her for everything she's done in the past, and while she's willing to forgive Odo for killing another changeling, in self-defense, mind you, he's not willing to forgive her for turning him into a salad.
We have forgiven you.
Well, I haven't forgiven you.
Now, you would think that after a conversation like that, Odo would completely ignore Peppermint Puddle and completely rebuff her, right?
Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some work to do in my quarters.
May I walk with you?
No, you may not. What the hell, Odo? You invited her into your quarters? You invited her into your quarters? Oh, sure. Now that they're all alone, she's all, link with me, Odo.
It's there for you.
Odo initially refuses, and Lucy is all, why? Oh, because of Kira? You love her? And then, of course, Odo gets all lovesick like a hormonal teenager.
All she has to do is smile at me, and I'm happy beyond reason. A minor disagreement between us, and I'm devastated. Sometimes I wish I could reach inside myself and tear out my feelings for her.
All right, Odo, why don't you just change your name to Emo and get it over with already? Because, damn it, control your emotions! You hate this woman! Why are you telling her all of this? Why are you even talking to her in the first place? But then, Lucy offers Odo DS9's drug of choice.
What you need is clarity. I can give you that.
Kids, say no to clarity.
Illegal drugs are bad news. Don't mess with them.
I get angry just thinking about it makes me mad.
Odo, of course, gives in and, hey, get a room, you two. In fact, I'm not sure this should be on a family channel such as mine. What I don't get is that Odo had long-standing feelings for Kira, and they're strong. This isn't a crush that developed last week. We're talking years of unrequited love here. Heck, he even brings it up in this conversation about how tortured he is over Kira. And yet, he links with Peppermint Puddle. She's not even hot, Odo! Look what you have!
Shame on you! Look what you got!
Now, I want to be fair here. Salome Jens was quite the looker back in the day, and by the 90s when this aired, she was in her 60s. But if the female founder is supposed to be an exceptional shapeshifter and can take any form, even Major Kira's, that's the form she takes? I'm sorry, but compared to Major Kira? What the hell, Odo? Meanwhile, Kira's looking for Odo and finds Damar in his chair.
I'm looking for Odo.
Well, he's not here.
Do you know where he is?
Yes.
You know, I only wish I could reach that level of smartassery. It turns out that Odo is in his quarters with Lucy. And, I don't know, this must be the latest gossip among the Cardassian officers that Odo and Kira are maybe a thing?
Jealous, Major?
Like, how many people suspect this? If anything, I would think Dukat and Kira would have been the talk of ops. You know, maybe some of the officers taking bets on whether or not Dukat can get Kira in the first place. Kira finds Odo in his quarters and something's not right.
You didn't link with her, did you?
Yes, Major, he did.
Actually, I did.
What were you thinking?
Say it, girl! And of course, Odo tries to justify all of this. She didn't find out about the resistance. The link isn't about sharing information. It's about merging thought, form, and sensation.
That sounds like a perfect way to manipulate someone.
She's not manipulating me.
Bullshit, Odo! The hell she isn't! Kira points out that gelatinous Geraldine has manipulated Odo ever since he's known her, and she doesn't understand how Odo can trust her. And frankly, yes, why are you even talking to her, Odo? Odo then claims because he linked with her, he would have been able to tell if she was hiding something. Except that Odo claimed a minute ago that he hid information about the resistance from her. So which is it, Odo? They can't both be true. And let's face it, Odo isn't a great changeling. That's why he looks the way he does. He can't do any better.
What happened to your face?
I'm a shapeshifter. I just don't do faces very well.
That woman, though, has experience. Not to mention that Odo at the end of season 4 admitted that the Great Link was hiding their Klingon infiltration plans from him when he was in the Great Link.
During the link, I sensed that the other changelings were trying to hide things from me.
So who's lying now, Odo? You know, you threw a hissy fit over Kira causing a fight at Quark's, which she got away with, and you're pulling this? What the hell? Odo is also deluded enough to think that by linking with Lucy that he can convince her that the Federation isn't a threat, so maybe that'll stop the war. And if you believe that, I got a lock of Picard's hair you can buy. He also thinks that she can teach him about himself, because now's the time to find yourself! There are people dying, Odo! And Kira literally tells him as much. She asks him to do her a solid.
Do me a solid.
And not link with Damp Daphne again, at least not until all this is over. Odo agrees, and Kira leaves looking a bit worried. Meanwhile, at the Resistance meeting, Jake says that the little fighting quirks worked out really well, and hey, maybe we should try something similar again.
I'm not sure we want to do that.
But it worked so well.
Yeah, but then Odo threw a massive hissy fit about it, so now we can't. Kira asks Odo's opinion about it, and oh man, clearly he's not in this meeting. But he says he doesn't think it's a good idea, and Kira says, well, we'll do something else.
Major. It's something that we can all agree on.
Really? We're gonna hold up this meeting for one guy? And don't get me wrong, I get it, Odo's a big part of the team, but he isn't even offering other ideas! Which is exactly what happened last time. He's just not walking out right now. At this point, Quark stumbles in drunk, having enjoyed
the bottle of Canar with Damar. That rhymed.
Having just discovered Damar's plan to disable the minefield Sisko had laid before he left, meaning Dominion forces can start coming through the wormhole. So they devise a plan to disable the station's deflector array, which involves Rom making his way to the EPS feed and Odo taking the alarms around it offline for 5 minutes so he can run a diagnostic. It'll be tight, but sounds like a plan. First thing in the morning, Odo will run the diagnostic.
A few moments later.
Odo, why did you let her in your quarters again? Odo, let me tell you more about our people. Odo, I don't differentiate myself from the rest of the link. Odo, I have no use for a name. And Odo's a little too into this conversation. Like, aren't you forgetting something, Odo?
Link with me again.
Lucy's at it again. Initially, Odo's like, I can't.
I promised, Kira.
She is a solid.
Meanwhile...
Kira to Odo, please respond.
Odo, you son of a... Now, remember a little scene I told you all to remember?
Are you questioning my loyalties?
Oh, of course not.
Gee, you think that maybe that wasn't an unfair question to ask? Now, Rom has been arrested because Odo was too busy linking to shut down the alarms. Let him have it, Kira! Let him have it!
He was counting on you. I was counting on you.
I was in the link.
Yeah, I'm just flabbergasted that the writers did this to Odo. And don't get me wrong, this is a very good story arc. But Odo was done dirty. This was a guy set up as someone you couldn't bribe. He was going to do the right thing and see justice done no matter what. And yeah, that was a little subverted in the episode Things Past back in season 5, but you could argue that the events of that episode show why he was so focused on justice. And here was a guy that rejected the Great Link in the first place because justice meant nothing to the founders. But, oh, want a link? And Odo's like, okay, I can forget my duties. I can forget my feelings for Kira. Like, what the hell? And she's not even hot!
OMG. Becky's not even hot.
Look, I know if she was, that wouldn't make it better, but at least it would have added some sense to all of this. Okay, back to the show.
You just handed the Alpha Quadrant to the Dominion. A lot of people are going to die. Don't you care?
Remember when I said that Odo wasn't thinking about himself and thinking about others earlier in this video? Good times. Kira is justifiably pissed. Rom is probably going to be executed for this, and Odo let all of them down. And he linked with Peppermint Puddle when Kira told him not to. Odo still got the glow and he's all, I was in the link, it was wonderful, and if only Kira could understand it, but she can't because she's not a changeling.
You're right. I'm a solid.
Odo, you... And listening to all of this is Lucy. So, Kira's given up on Odo, and I can't say I blame her. Quark and Kira can't even get to him. He's been in his quarters with Lucy for 3 days!
3 days. You were only there for 3 days and you couldn't restrain yourself.
That's right. Odo and Lucy for 3 days have been doing some adult activities. And I'm not even talking about linking. And the kicker? She tells Odo it wasn't even that good. Odo, you dumbass. And Odo didn't even realize 3 days had passed. This was a guy that scheduled his security rounds down to the minute.
I have a daily routine, which I follow unwaveringly. The shopkeepers on the promenade joke that they can set their clocks by me.
I want to know what the hell is going on.
I've been occupied.
Yeah, no Odo. But all might not be lost. Gelatinous Geraldine is starting to show her colors with talk about breaking the solids.
They cherish their freedom.
We'll have to break them of that.
Break them.
Yeah, Odo, this is the bed you made. Look what you had! Speaking of which, Odo spies Kira and runs after her.
Major!
He eventually catches up to her, and Kira's still pretty.
I'm sorry.
We are way past sorry.
Yep, Odo, you screwed up. Bad. Well, Rom may be in prison, and Odo's not in the Resistance anymore, but at least Rom's new wife, Lita, joined up. Just to get arrested with everyone else.
You've nothing to hide, do you? You certainly don't.
Meanwhile, Odo's feeling pretty bad.
You should feel bad.
Peppermint Puddle recognizes that Odo still has strong feelings for Kira, and, oh yeah, she's been arrested and going to be tried, found guilty, and executed.
No.
Well, that was probably the wake-up call Odo needed, because when Lucy asks him to link with her again, he does the one thing he should have done since this bitch walked on the station.
No.
The first step, Odo, is admitting you have a problem. And saying no.
Kids, don't be afraid to say no. I just want to shake some sense into you kids.
Good old Quark enlists the help of Ducat's daughter, Zial, to break Kira, Rom, Lita, and Jake out of prison in a rather badass scene for Quark.
I kiss you, Quark, but there isn't time.
And it was in that moment, just for a moment, that Kira considered choosing Quark over Odo.
Oh, I love a woman in uniform.
Word of the prison break makes it to Odo and Lucy, and they're supposed to be escorted to Ops for safety. Odo, however, stays behind and sneaks away to use his Bajoran security detail to help Kira and Rom.
Never underestimate the element of surprise.
Well, better late than never. Kira asks Odo why, and he says there isn't time to explain, but she probably already knows the answer. But what about the Great Link?
The link was paradise. But it appears I'm not ready for paradise.
Well, there goes paradise.
Well, good to have you back, Odo. I'm still mad at you. Long story short, the Federation takes back the station with a little help from the Bajoran prophets. Ducat's mullet grows as he's driven further and further into insanity, and the death of Zial in a heartbreaking scene proves to be his breaking point.
We'll go back to Cardassia Zial.
The Cisco baseball is back where it belongs, and the station can return to normal. So, what is my take on Odo at this point? Well, in spite of everything that happened in this arc, I still like Odo, and it's probably because of the goodwill built up over the first 5 seasons of the show, his chemistry with the rest of the crew, and Renee Auberjonois' performance. That being said, this arc did taint Odo for me a bit, though it didn't completely ruin his character. And it brings up a whole slew of questions. For one thing, how does anyone trust Odo after this? He's head of security and all it takes is a little linking to turn him. Starfleet already didn't trust him, which is why they had their own security officer on the station for a while. Though we all know how well Eddington worked out. And think about it. Worf was chief of security on the Enterprise and has even proven he can handle station security when Odo had a little lapse in judgment in Season 4. It would be really easy for Starfleet to station Worf in security, considering everything that happened. They can't do much with Odo since Odo isn't in Starfleet, but I'm just saying, Odo's a bit of a security risk right now. But besides that, how does Kira trust him again? She knew about his feelings for her. She asked him not to link with the female founder because there are lives on the line, and he did it anyway. Not to mention that despite his feelings for her, he linked and did the you-know-what with the female founder, all while admitting he still had feelings for Kira. I know Kira and Odo weren't dating at the time, but still, he basically cheated on her. If I was in the show, I'm not sure I could completely trust Odo again, or he'd have to really work hard to rebuild that trust. I know in the rest of the show, he doesn't do anything like this again, but dang, he really messed up bad here. And I get it, Odo was vulnerable and the female founder played upon his vulnerabilities, but still, what had been established about Odo just doesn't mix well with his actions in this arc. And all it took was a couple of episodes to taint his character. Again, this is a good story arc, but man, Odo's a little frustrating to watch in it. Wow, I was angry. So, what do you think? Did Odo's actions in the Dominion occupation story arc frustrate you as much as it did me? Did Odo's actions ruin him for you, or do you still like the character despite everything that's happened? Would you have trusted him again if you were in the show? And what do you think about how the Odo-Kira plot was resolved in this arc? Please, leave comments below and discuss. As always, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Treknalysis. If you like what you see, why not give my video a like and subscribe to my channel? Tell your friends! Until next time...
What the hell happened?